There's a big new force in British politics which is going to change a lot. And when I say new, I mean that it hasn't actually been described properly yet, and certainly there is no name for it. I am describing people who are characteristically middle-aged, if I can put it that way. They're anything from mid-30s through to early 50s. These are people who have probably, thanks to Tony Blair, been to university, that huge expansion of university education we've seen. But they have come out of university and they have not really been plugged into capitalism, if I can put it that way. They probably don't own their own houses. They might be in a shared ownership scheme, or they might be renting. They probably have not got a lifetime corporate career of the old kind, so they are woefully underprepared in terms of pension. They don't have capital, they don't have the house. And because they've been to university, they have probably imbibed quite liberal values while they were there. That's what happens to most people at university. We know that. And so this is a group of people who are not going to vote Tory. They're not that kind of volatile, but they are possibly going to vote Green, Liberal Democrat or Labour. They are part of this wider anti-Tory coalition that we saw in the local elections.
Well done everyone, how fantastic, what a brilliant result.
So this is a group of people who came up and were politicised at a time when climate change was becoming more and more important. Many of them may now be Extinction Rebellion supporters. And at a time, of course, when those huge marches and demonstrations against the Iraq War radicalised a generation.
Without doubt, one of the largest gatherings, let alone protest rallies, in English history. Many say they'd never known an atmosphere quite like it. Could that be in part because so many were moved to protest for the first time?
They're doing really good, useful jobs mostly, though they're working on contract, rather insecure possibly a bit badly paid compared to the boomer generations. And they are, frankly, more than a little pissed off. That means that they are hostile to the establishment in many ways, they are instinctively liberal, and they are not lifetime party members. So the Labour Party cannot count on them. And my point is that, certainly at Westminster, which is a bit semi-blind about the rest of the country, politicians focus on the red wall. And on the Labour side of the argument, that means very, very strong on law and order. You almost can't be too hardline on immigration. You almost can't be too disciplinarian. You almost can't be too small c conservative on gender and sexual politics as you think about this caricature of red wall working class voters that the Labour Party needs back. But these voters are very different. And unlike red wall voters or Tory Shire voters, and again we've got the caricatures in our heads about them, they are all over the country. They are a big, volatile new force. And you're gonna hear me roll now. There is an ontological question here. If we haven't got a name for something in politics, does it actually exist? I know this exists because I see these people, I talk to them, they are my friends. Many of them are New Statesman readers as well. So I know this force exists, and I just feel we haven't focused on it properly. I've been trying to find a name for them, and so far I have failed, my friends, completely. I thought about precariat, or the in-betweeners, or nomad voters, but none of these really capture what I mean. So here's an acronym that I'm using for the time being, MAVIS. MAVIS stands for Middle-Aged Volatile Insurgent Voters. MAVIS. It's not the best name and it's not the right name. So in a sense, I'm putting this out for the wisdom of crowds. If anyone is watching this and has a better name and recognises this same group, get in touch with the New Statesman and tell us. Because we think at the New Statesman, this is a really important group and politics needs to recognise and talk about it far more. Thank you.
If you'd like to stay up to date and you'd like to see the latest explainers, field reports, feature stories and special discussion episodes, then please, folks, subscribe to our channel today.
Brought to you by Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management. Experienced wealth managers who go above and beyond to guide and support you. Can do is more than just an attitude. Can do is navigating today for a brighter tomorrow.